Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast with myself and, of course, the star of the show. My man, Mr. Coach Santa, is back with us. Of course, ain't no show without the coach, right? What's going on, Miguel? How you been, brother? You know how I like to start the show. How you been?
Doing well, sir. Doing well, sir. Enjoying another successful Eagles weekend.
Oh, yeah, gotta love that, right? Gotta love
And
that. Our boys are headed to the NFC title game. We'll be talking about that in just a little bit. But I got a whole bunch of weird noises going on over here. I think the studio might be getting haunted. I don't know what's going on, but we'll be getting into championship weekend in not too long from now. But of course, we do have a special guest in today, none other than Coach Matthew Mitchell, Coach Mitch of the Mitchell Marlins. What's going on, Coach? I'm going to just bring you right in. We're going to get started. We're going to jump right into it, Coach. Thank you for being with us tonight. Um, First of all, I always ask people how they been, Coach. We've just met just not too long ago, but still going to ask you how you been, Coach.
I've been great, man. I've been great. Just enjoying life. Just continuing to coach and be the educator that I am.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, um, let me give a little bit of an introduction here. Coach Mitchell is a baseball player and coach. 2019 DCIAA. I got that right, Coach. I've
Yep.
been practicing. DCIAA Coach of the Year in 2019. Congratulations on that. Um, Runs the Mitchell Marlins. Coached at DeMatha. Coached at a bunch of schools. His resume is impeccable. You definitely want to give this man a holler. I don't know if he wants a call, but if you want to call somebody, you might want to start with him. Coach Matthew Mitchell is with us on the Check Swing Podcast. Now, I just kind of introduced you, Coach, but our people like to hear it straight from, I'm not going to say the horse's mouth, but they want to hear it right from the people's mouth because they tired of hearing me. Coach, give us a little background on you before we get into our discussion today. Give us where are you from? Where have you played? Where have you coached? All that good stuff.
Okay. No problem. Well, first I want once again thank you guys for having me. It's always great to have a platform to talk about our mission and the things that myself and our coaches are doing. A little bit about myself. I'm a DC native, born and raised in Washington D.C. Played a little college ball. Went to JUCO for 2 years. I got a scholarship to a small D2 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Had a couple pre-draft workout invites. Went to about 3 or 4 of those. Didn't quite work out the way that I wanted them to work out. And instead of kind of pursuing the long independent ball route that some of my peers did, I just said I'm going to come back home, get my master's in education, and start my career in education. And that's kind of what I did. Got into coaching. My first coaching job was at a small charter school off North Capitol in Upper Northwest, by Tacoma Park. We were able to take a bunch of kids from the inner city who really didn't know too much about baseball, and just kind of teach them about the game, teach them the fundamentals. And we had about 2 successful years there. Right after that, I went to DeMatha. I coached at St. Albans. And one of my last stops was at what you kind of referred to earlier, was when I won Coach of the Year, is at Ron Brown College Preparatory. It's a all boys program in DCPS, located off of Benning Road in northeast, kind of the Kenilworth Avenue area. Once again, same makeup. Took a bunch of inner city kids, taught them the game, got them interested in the game. They kind of bought into the culture. Was able to get maybe 2 or 3 solid baseball players over there. And well, we had a pretty successful season. We went about 11-2. Lost to the 2 losses came to the teams we were supposed to lose to. Wilson High School being one of them. They have a pretty dominant public school program, and it's been like that for a while. But And that kind of segue into the Mitchell Marlins. Me running a program in Ron Brown. We got the kids, the inner city kids, kind of involved into the culture. They start getting better, and they started inquiring more about the game. And I say, hey, we started off as a freshman cohort, and each year we would add on a new grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. So by their sophomore year, I say, hey, if you guys really want to get better in this game, then you're going to have to start playing 2 or 3 times a year. And what's going to happen is you're going to have to join a travel ball team. Well, a lot of them weren't that good yet to make the big travel ball teams. So I said, I'll start the Marlins, and they'll give you guys a platform to really keep playing the game. And the idea was to, after those kids graduated out, to kind of do away with the Marlins and do something else. But a couple of those kids became really well, went on to play college ball, are still playing college ball right now. And their younger siblings started to inquire about travel ball and baseball. So we just kind of kept it going from there. And we're about 5 years in, and we got about I believe 7 teams now, from ages 6 to 18, and we're gonna keep it going, and this is where we are today.
Wow, quite impressive there, Coach Mitch. You had a couple people that wanted to say what's up to you. We had Eric Sharp. I don't know if you saw Eric Sharp said Coach Mitch,
Yep,
and Miss Demita Joe said Cuzzo Coach Mitch.
yep, yep,
Shout
yep.
out to them. Appreciate y'all checking us out today. Appreciate you checking out Coach Mitch. Um, Question for you: when it comes to when you were making the transition from a player to being a coach, excuse me, I also had to make that transition, but my transition was a little bit different from yours. I didn't necessarily have invitations to try. I did have a child to go to, sprain my ankle playing basketball that week before. Lesson learned, right? But I my route went from college to the working world back to coaching. Um, what did you find was what was one of the more difficult things, or maybe one of the things that you didn't expect when you got into coaching, after having a successful baseball career?
Well, it's always tough for every former athlete to kind of, when they make that transition, because you always have those doubts in your head, like, wow, why didn't I, make a career out of this?
Mhm.
You always, growing up, I kind of always looked at coaching as like the backup plan. It's like you do that after you retire, you do that if you don't make it. But each year I would come home from college on summer break, and of course I would play travel ball, and I would always pick up a summer job where I would coach youth baseball. There's a really popular camp in DC, ran by Coach Mack. Shout out to Coach Mack, called Home Run Baseball, and he would always give me a job. Like each summer, I would come home, and I began to really like the game a lot. And as a coach, as coaching youth, you start to really pay attention to detail, and it kind of improves your own game, right? Because if I'm telling this kid he has to focus on this and use these mechanics, then it kind of translates, to your own game. So that was one of the things that I really loved about making that transition. Of course, one of the difficult things is just I've been an educator as well for the past 14 years. The similarities are with the difficulties are, the parents, the adults.
Mhm.
It's really frustrating sometimes that you get into these kid businesses as far as education and youth sports, and the most difficult part of them isn't the kids, it's the parents. So just learning different personalities, being able to adjust to different parents from different walks of life, who have different thoughts on different things, and who come from different economic backgrounds. I mean, that can be another podcast right there,
Oh yeah.
So that was one of the more difficult things that I had to adjust to, and I'm still adjusting to. But once you see the kids develop and progress through your program, and you create those memories between the parents and the kids, and it makes it all worth everything that you go through.
Absolutely. Miguel.
The awesome. I feel you with the parents. After my first two teams that I coached at Rollins, you learn how to copy paste a lot of quotes and emails and stuff. So so I feel you on the parent bit. So being that we all have experience coaching on the urban side of baseball, what do you feel is the greatest in your experience so far, the greatest disparity between urban baseball and what you've seen in like the suburban club teams? What would you say is the greatest disparity?
Of course, the economics. The economics. We Because of that, the Marlins program, we raise money each year to provide scholarships. When you come to our program, we got kids from all different walks of life, all different economic statuses. The kids from the disenfranchised neighborhoods, they're going to need a little more support. Those are the kids that Coach Mitch and Coach Jarrett and, Coach Marvin have to go pick up. Those are the kids that, who need a little more financial assistance when we go on the road. They need places to stay. So, but with those kids too, you get a greater appreciation. Those kids really, that when they graduate from the program, they come back and they work for you, or they come back and they want to support. And so I would say, just the economics with one of the biggest things. But all the kids, no matter their economic status, is all bring different things to the program, and give us joy in different ways.
Ain't that the truth, man? There's nothing like coaching a kid and that light bulb moment when that
Yep.
happens. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, and it makes you just remember why you're doing what you're doing. Especially when them times get hard, especially when them innings get long, when the sun is getting hotter, if you got to get up at 8 o'clock or got to play at 8 o'clock in the morning because the day before didn't go that well, whatever the case may be. Um,
Yep.
you are. I, I'm trying to be careful saying it, but I really don't need to be. But you are in the minority, right? In more ways than one. But as a baseball player, which is what I'm referring to, we have some stats here about blacks in the game of baseball at different levels, the professional level, at the collegiate level. But I wanted to ask you about your personal experience playing in JUCO and in Division 2. Did you see a lot of faces similar to yours? Did you see a lot of black and brown people playing college ball at those levels where you were playing?
No, I really didn't. Of course, I grew up in, late 90s, early 2000s. So baseball in DC was, as a kid, was pretty popular. It was a seasonal sport, of course. It was something that everyone did in the spring, but it was something that, everyone did for the most part. But I'll say around age 15, 16, that's when it started to kind of just thin out. My peers went to play basketball and, and football. So by the time I got to, the college ranks, JUCO, you didn't see a lot of black players, except it's funny. Actually, I went to an HBCU. I got a scholarship to an HBCU. And when I went down there, this was the first time I've ever been on an all black team. It was like, and the kids can actually play. Because, I mean, I went to my high school team in PG County. we had some black kids come out, but of course it was their first time playing baseball, so they weren't that good. But when I went down to this HBCUs, my first time actually being on an all black team where the kids can actually play. But outside of that, I mean, the travel when I come home for men's league baseball, travel ball, I mean, you know, 15 through 19, you get the experience where you're just the only black kid on the team, and it's just something that you kind of become accustomed to.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I also played at HBCU.
Oh, nice.
Um, actually in Maryland, I went to Maryland Eastern Shore,
Okay.
and um, our
Shout
team
out to
was
Maryland for sure.
yeah, absolutely all day. Go Hawks.
Thank you.
Um, it was kind of our team was probably 50-50, maybe more, maybe 70-30. Sorry, my math. Maybe 70-30. Um, leaning in our way because there were a lot of guys that were on the team that were just there. You know what I mean? But um, that was one of the shocking things to me. And all my teammates were great. Like I don't have anything bad to say about any of my teammates. But it was just one of the shocking things to me that at a HBCU there were so many non-black players on the baseball team. And as we went to play like the Coppins, the Dell States, the Norfolks, the A&Ts,
Yeah.
it seemed like the more south you go, the
Mhm.
more black ball players you saw. Like Dell State didn't have a
Yeah.
whole lot of them. Coppin didn't have a whole lot. There was a good mixture at Coppin actually. Howard, when Howard had a team, there wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
Norfolk had a lot, A&T had a lot, and then you get into the Florida schools. FAM had a lot.
Mhm.
Um, um, Bethune Cookman, because they were in the MEAC at the
Yeah.
time as
Don't
well. They
cook me.
had a lot of South American players on their team.
Mhm.
But I find it fascinating that even at the HBCU level, you don't see a whole lot of that, and your experience was a little different. I know on my team at the time, knowing what I know now about baseball, how I know it from this perspective, I would say we had guys that could play baseball, but they were just kind of really all around athletes. It sounds like what you had were you guys had baseball players on your team.
Yeah.
Um, so speak to that experience of when you were in high school, it wasn't a whole lot of you, and then speak to how that may have affected your game on the field when you went down to what school was it in North
I
Carolina?
went to
Sorry,
Shaw University.
Shaw. When you went to Shaw, can you speak to that experience of how that may have affected your game?
Yeah, the high school that I went to, of course, I was probably the best player on the team as a sophomore. So I mean, you can imagine how much I was being pushed. We were on a team with, the teams were full, but it was just something fun for the football player who was out of his season to come do. Oh, I'm gonna go just try out football, and they were my friends too, so it's kind of we all knew each other, but they weren't very good. So I mean, of course, I don't think I was being pushed like I should have been being pushed. It's just a matter, I tell parents all the time, we love our neighborhood schools, but if your kid is pretty good in baseball and, in PG County or DC, then public school isn't really the route to go for them. And it's sad that it's
Mm.
like that. It wasn't like that, of course, in the 80s and 90s and even the 70s, my college coach, Coach Jimmy Williams. I heard you mention Howard. He was head coach at Howard for many years. He actually got drafted really high, first round, second round, out of a public high school in DC. You don't get that anymore. So been there. Of course, it didn't push me at all. It probably made me lose some love for the game and going, some predominantly black schools. So, you're not gonna get too many girls playing baseball in a predominantly black schools. So you kind of
It's a little
gravitate
different.
toward, the football and basketball, and
Hmm.
so that's just kind of, we just understand that's how it is. in our neighborhood high schools. But when I, like I said, when I went down to Shaw, it was just I was amazed by how many black kids actually play baseball. And you alluded to it earlier. Maybe it's a Southern thing. They play a little more in the South, and I've noticed that as our program has grown and we went to different states, Florida and Georgia, you see more black kids kind of playing baseball because it's a little warmer, especially in those states. But yeah, it was just it was a pretty it was a different experience.
Absolutely. I can remember like seeing. I went to a school. I went to two high schools. The first high school I went to was predominantly black. Second one was predominantly white.
Hmm.
And I tell the story about how at my second high school when I was transferring, I actually asked the what's it called the guidance counselor about the baseball team,
Hmm.
and I promise you, I'll never forget it. He told me, "You don't even waste your time. That team is already picked."
Hmm.
And I was like, I ate it. I ate it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna run track. You know what I mean? Like I ate it, and I guess I was intimidated by it. But then I go to school. I actually walked on, and I made the team. But when we go to these other teams that had the black guy, and they were crushing us, I was like, man, we out here balling. But then we get a stat today in 2021, 6% of Division 1 ball players were black.
Hmm.
6%. That's amazing to me. And um, it dropped to 4% across all three divisions. Even HBCU teams were just over 30% white. And what did I say? My team was
Yeah.
like 70-30. Um, I just before I don't want to forget, I do want to put this out here. I want my man Theo. He said, "Oh man, small world. Shout out to Coach Mitch and my UMES roommate. What up, Justin? Hawk Pride. So, what up?
Mr.
What up?
Dollar.
Oh, we used to call him. Oh, what up? Oh, appreciate it. And Demeter Joe said, "Don't forget to like the video, y'all. Definitely like the video. Subscribe to the page. We got a whole bunch of shows that's going on here on New Twist Radio, not just the Check Swing podcast. Um, but thank y'all for checking us out. We got Coach Mitchell here of the Mitchell Marlins. Coach Mitch, excuse me. That's they call you Coach Mitch, right?
Yeah, either.
I'm trying to fit in here. I'm just trying to fit in.
Uh,
Miguel, I know you had a couple more questions for Coach Mitch.
well, it was funny when you talked about your experience, Justin, about how you inquired about the baseball team at an all white high school, and they kind of brushed you off, but kind of switching it to I was reading a story about a trade that the Marlins made, where Jazz Chisholm from the Marlins decided to move from second base to the outfield,
Yeah, so
and it reminds me of
hmm
some of my experiences because I went to an all white high school and at Northeast in Philadelphia, and we won three straight city championships. And one thing I always noticed was how when it came to the skill positions, the shortstop, the second base, it was like if you were even remotely dark, like my skin complexion or darker, you were
wow.
either the catcher or you were in the outfield.
Mm. Yeah.
And it was funny because I'm starting to read certain stories, and there's this writer. He's a baseball writer for over 40 years, and he talked about how baseball is a white. His name is Howard Bryant. He said baseball is a white suburban game reinforced by foreign labor. Because he talks about how um, there's more baseball academies in Latin America, especially in the Dominican Republic. Almost every team in Major League Baseball has a camp or an organization there to bring up the Latin ball players because they have all this talent and they're cheaper, because my favorite catcher in the world, Carlos Ruiz, was a second baseman for Venezuela. He signed for $16,000. you
Hmm.
know but again, for those skill positions, it's almost like, well, if you're Latin, you're in the infield or you're catching, and if you're black, then you're outfield catching all the balls. So how do you kind of Coach Mitch, break out of that mentality, um, for us as coaches, because I think we speak different. What am I trying to say? We kind of speak different languages, even though we both speak, our races speak, English. But it's almost like, when we speak up about what we can do, then we're regarded as, you know, being not a good teammate.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because I had that experience as well. But can you speak to that aspect of how to, encourage like a person of color who's a really good shortstop, and how to
Yeah,
speak up for themselves and say, I'm not going to get pushed around to any other
yeah,
position. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, you see it all the time. I played middle infield in high school. Of course, by the time I got to JUCO, I was dumped out into the outfield because I
I
could
had a
run.
feeling you were an infielder. You have the build of an
Yep,
infielder.
yep. I played. I really liked it too. But I was also running 6'2", 6'3". So I had speed, and they bumped me out in the outfield. It's just and same thing with the Upton brothers, Justin Upton, BJ Upton, the Tidewater area. They came up. They were phenomenal infielders, but when they went to the majors, they were in the outfield. It's just something that really that happens. I have a son. My son is 9. He plays middle infield, and I just think middle infield is such a skilled position. Like it just takes a lot more time. It's footwork. There's judging different hit ground balls. There's different arm angles. I'm not going to throw the ball over top. I'm not going to throw a shallow ball, over top like I would a ball. I got to go backhand in the hole. It's all different, nuances to playing middle infield that I just think a lot of kids aren't really putting in the time, or the coaches aren't really putting in the time to give these kids. And the outfield, my coach used to joke all the time. He used to say, the outfielders should have to pay to get in the game. It's perceived as a just an easy position. You run in, you catch in, but I argue that point too. I think outfield is a skill position as well, but just not as intricate as the middle infield. So I think a lot of kids don't really put in the work, to play that position well, to play it at a high level. I tell the kids all the time, shortstop and second base, you got to put in hours of work with that. Like you see these kids putting in work with their dribbling on
Yeah.
YouTube. You see these YouTube videos with kids dribbling through cones and, Euro steps and dribbling with the left hand, dribbling with the right hand. That position and catcher are two skilled positions that you really have to put in a lot of work for. So I just, like I said, I don't think that a lot of coaches and players, black and Hispanic players, but I would say more African American, don't really put in that work for middle infield.
So just to piggyback off of that topic, Miguel and I coached a we coached at the same high school for some time, and we had a set of brothers that played for us. And also in the school there is a coach that played minor league baseball. He's not a baseball coach with us, but he's a coach at the school. And he told the boy's father, because his father would tell us, teach your kids how to play the outfield because your kids are black, your sons are black, and that's where they're going to put them in the outfield. And they were
Wow.
both infielders.
Hmm.
They probably could play any position, honestly, but they were both infielders. And it was interesting coming from him because you know because he played, so he had the inside lane on that. Um, with that being said, and knowing that, do you tend to make sure your kids are able to play the outfield as well as the infield, even if they're infielders? Do you make sure they're able to play the outfield because it could be a thing where they get sent out there and that's the only way they're going to be on the team?
I don't know if I do that, consciously, but I think maybe unconsciously, I'm working with the kids 10 and under, the kids of color. I'm like, you guys got to be well rounded. You got to know how to play every position. I do think that's in the back of my unconscious somewhere. Um, but once again, I really think that if you're at a point where you're trying to make a high school team, and that's the only spot that's open. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to make that team, then you just got to suck it up and go to the outfield. But if you're a parent of a kid who's 10, I would say even 12 and under, get that kid an infield coach. It's a skilled position that requires a specialist. It's not something that just a general coach is going to develop that kid. Think about it. You come to practice, you got 2 hours. You do some ground ball work. You may do infield, outfield. I mean, that kid's, in between him and 4 or 5 other kids, he's not going to get a ton of reps. That kid's going to need about 100 ground balls every other day. He's going to need to work on different arm angles, different footwork, how to move to the ball, heel toe, coming through the ball, breaking down. We teach our infielders, 100, 50, 100. You go 100 to the ball, 50 is where you break down and get your body under control, get your heel down, and then you go back to 100 when you're throwing. But that stuff has to be drilled in these kids like almost daily, or at least every other day. So, definitely, if you want your kid to excel at infield, get them a infield specialist, get them an infield coach, a guy who's played the game, who knows the infield game, and I think that you'll set your kid up to be more successful at that position. Now, if they're already with our high school kids, I mean, if you're 16, and your footwork isn't that good, you're trying to make a high school team and you can hit and you can run, just go in the outfield. I mean, you want to make the roster. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, you've missed years of development as far as your footwork and all the aforementioned things. So you're gonna have to just go in the outfield. Be blessed and feel blessed that you're in the lineup, and and make plays out there and hit to keep yourself playing every day.
Absolutely. I know Miguel always says, we used to always say, I think it was you, Miguel, used to always say, your bat will get you on the team, your glove will get you in the lineup. Is that what you said, Miguel? Did I get that
Will
right?
keep you in the lineup.
Keep you in the
Your
lineup.
glove will keep you in
Keep
the
you in the
lineup.
lineup. And it's funny that we talk about that because, like, growing up, I played outfield. I could play the outfield, but I was completely in outfield like one season of my life. After that, I was second base, second base, second base, second base. And then as soon as I made the high school team, they immediately put me in the outfield.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, but I was starting because I was fast. I was the leadoff hitter, but it was like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm a second baseman. Why you put me out in the outfield? And actually got my first high school game. I got benched
Mm-hmm.
because what happened?
Was that
I,
the ball
I
that went
ran I
the ball
ran
that
in
went
on
through
the
the
ball. It was a pop fly. I ran in on the ball, goes over my head. I had to go back and get it. Happened to me twice in one game. And this particular game, my first high school game, I was not lead off. I was at the bottom of the lineup. I
Mm-hmm.
got I got pulled from the game before I even got in that bat.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm glad I actually learned how to play
Mm-hmm.
outfield because when I first went to the shore, I was an outfielder till I hurt
Yeah.
my arm. And whatever. Not about me, it's about you. Um, I want to ask you about your coaching strategy, your coaching theories. Um, you were speaking about earlier in one of your coaching jobs that there was not a lot of experience that you were coaching and you had to develop them over time. Um,
Yeah.
how were you able to and then became successful to the point where you only lost 2 games in the season? How were you able to develop that talent in such a short amount of time? Because I myself and Miguel have both been in the same situation, but we were not able to develop that talent. in a short amount
Mhm.
of time. So how were you able to do that? Was it the commitment from the kids that you had, or what was it? Give me your secret sauce, please.
I ain't gonna tell you all the secrets, man. You might have to
Well, tell
you
me
might
when
have
we
to
get off
sign
the
up
show. You
for
can
it,
tell
man.
me
I
later.
mean, I can put you on a payment plan, like
He's worried
$10
Rollins
a month. I can put you on a payment plan, man. I give it to you. No,
All right, what's
no
your cash app? I got you.
I just try when I get a team, I just try to find something that can make them successful in the game. And we kind of just talked about it. Having predominantly black team, you got athletes, kids who can run, you know,
Mhm.
and I taught those kids how to bunt. We would have practices where we would go hours. Just I would crank up the jugs machine. I would put two cones down third base. I would put two cones down first base. They learned how to drag bunt. For my righties, they learn how to drag bunt down third. My lefties learn how to drag bunt down first. And then as they started to really master that, I would put two cones right between the pitcher's mound and the second base, right between the pitcher's mound and shortstop, and I taught them how to push bunt. And a lot of teams can't even I would say college teams can't. They don't have a lot of great bunt defenses, and we
Right.
would we would go games where we would get like 8-9 bunts a game, and they just teams would field them, throw the ball away, and that was kind of my secret sauce with those kids. I had them really, fall in love with the bunt, and because they didn't have a lot of experience in baseball, they didn't look down on the bunt either. You get the kids now, they're like, "Oh, you're telling me to bunt, man," and so they ignore the bunt sign when you give it to them, and they think you're kind of devaluing them. But that was one thing that we did really well. I had the kids buy in. I would come. Coach Mitch, got a little swag. I would come with the chain, with the Oakleys, and they were like, Coach Mitch, can I get some glasses like that? And before you know it, the whole team had them, and they started to really buy into the urban things of sports that attract us. Like when I was growing up, we had Ken Griffey. Man, he was swaggy.
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
the chains, the earrings, the shoes, the Griffies.
Mhm.
Derek Jeter. Those guys. Derek Jeter was sponsored by Jordan. So those are little things that African American boys are really attracted to, and I just think that optics part, and just as far as a strategy, like you said, was just really helping them understand that bunt and the power of the bunt. That was a huge part of my game. I switch hit. I can go games where I just drop two bunts and go 2 for 4. If I wasn't swinging that well, and they really bought into it. And as far as the pitching side, we had a lot of kids. Like I said, we had about 2 or 3 kids who could play, and they were my main pitchers, of course. We taught them how to use the corners. We taught them how to, change the eye level of the hitter. Low outside fastball, high fastball inside, change up away. I think that helped us, be pretty successful. And ultimately, they were students, so I had to challenge them on the academia part. I would send them home with homework. Hey, don't come to my practice unless you come with your homework folder and you got this assignment completed. And this really started helping them understand situational baseball and the fundamentals of baseball. So I think all those things really helped us be successful that year. And the last thing, I had a really good assistant coach. And shout out to Dr. Roosevelt Cohen's 50 or 40-year vet in DCPS. He was a social worker, experienced in baseball, but he brought a socio emotional aspect to that team where he knew how to talk to the boys. What we would do restorative groups, and and he would help iron out any quarrels that we had amongst, in practice and things of that nature. And he really uplifted the boys. He made them feel good about themselves. He made them feel confident. So, we was really blessed those couple years, that especially that last year, to really have all those aspects on our team.
Wow, that's great stuff. That's amazing right there, man. Proud of the work that you are doing to uplift our
Appreciate it.
youth and doing it for with a game that has lost its popularity in a lot of urban areas around the country, but with people like you, we are able to restore some of that popularity in the
Yes, sir.
game. I do want to ask you one thing, and I'm going to ask you with Miguel right here. This summer, can we get a Rawlings and Mitchell Marlins matchup? Can we
We
get
play
one?
them all the time.
Yeah, I might have
Yeah,
to drive down for that one. I might
yeah,
want to check that one out.
yeah. We play
Yeah,
them all the time. Our younger teams play your younger teams. I know
yeah,
my son's team played. You have a Coach Lopez,
yeah.
your new coach, and we played them. They
Casino,
pretty
yeah.
solid team.
And
Pretty solid.
his son, his older son, Benny, he's catching. He's the real deal.
Okay,
I
I
I
believe.
haven't seen a catcher like him in decades. Just the way he was able to call games himself and handle pitchers, and so look for the name Benny Lopez. Out of I think he goes to Old Mill this year. He's a freshman out of Old Mill, so he's
Nice.
and
Yeah, I
he's
believe.
the best part. He's a great kid, great human being, and I think that's the issue as coaches. We don't know how to deal with the human aspect of these baseball players. We're focused on analytics and you
Mhm,
know see ball, hit ball,
mhm.
all that stuff. But it's like, wait a minute. I think me and Justin, we had a couple players that I think at one point they were homeless. It's like, what do you do with that? Like, where does the wins and losses come in?
Mhm.
But
And I tell you one thing, Coach Mitch. I know for sure. I know I was happy about it, but I know you made Miguel's heart smile when you said you taught them boys how to bunt, and you did it a lot.
Yep.
yes,
That's
sir.
like a lost start in today's game. I was actually working at a facility up here, and I was taking over a practice for a coach. I guess he couldn't be there, or he no. I'll tell you exactly what happened. I ain't gonna get in trouble for it. I came to the practice, right? I'm walking up to the field, and I'm looking, and the practice had already started. They had asked me to go out there after I had went to the facility, and I'm looking as I'm walking up. I had to walk across the whole field, and I'm like, he doesn't have any shoes on. I'm talking about the coach. He doesn't have any shoes on the field. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but you can probably think about what I was thinking. And once I get up to him, I talk to him. I can tell he had been drinking,
Mm.
and he had been out that day. He had been drinking. He smelled like beer, all types of stuff. He ended up leaving, so I was running the practice. And I'm throwing BP, and I said, "All right, we're going to bunt two." And the kid looked at me like, "Huh?" I said, "We're going to bunt two."
Right.
Coach, we don't bunt. What you mean you don't bunt? Coach, we don't bunt. Coach said that's for wusses. I said, well,
Wow.
y'all gonna bunt today. Y'all gonna be a bunch of wusses. Y'all gonna bunt today because that's part of the game. So I just couldn't believe that there are coaches out there that really they just abandon that part of the game that can be such an important part of the game.
But
Uh,
it's funny when you watch college baseball, even the national, like the top five, top 10 teams in the country, bunt like crazy because they're trying to win the game. And
mhm.
it was real fun last year, and I think I showed you this video, Justin. There was I we had a bunt World Series, if you will. So we had a bunt scrimmage.
I love it. Yeah.
So we brought the bases in instead of 90 feet, we brought them in like 30 feet. So
Hmm.
they're in this small box, and everybody has to play bunt defense. So the
Yeah.
object was to move everybody over, and they literally every time we would have like the last 30 minutes, we would either do situational hitting, um, we would do two ball, or this bunt thing. They were literally demanding to do the bunt World Series. It was funny how they caught on to that.
Yeah. I mean, you think about St. John's. high school.
I've heard about St. John's.
They've been dominant. They've been the most, I would say, the most dominant high school baseball program in DC for the last 15 years. I mean, small ball bunting is a huge part of their game. You know, I go watch St. John's play. They're bunting 9, 10 times a game. A lot of their games, you know, one off great base running, solid defense, and executing a bunt. And you know, it's a weapon. It's definitely a weapon to have. I mean, Rod Carew, Juan Pierre, Brett Butler. You know, those are guys who, you know, I really looked up to for their.
That's he said the buzzword of the year. We need to have a chime go off. Juan Pierre is that's his idol right there.
That was my guy. Juan Pierre was my guy, man.
Oh yeah, that was my guy too. Yeah,
that was man. What he did that season with the Marlins when they won the World Series, man, that was my guy right there.
2003.
Yeah, man.
It was him, and right behind him was Luis Castillo, who also was an excellent bunter and a great.
That squad was loaded. That squad was loaded. And it's funny because they was all young.
Yeah,
they were all young. Like,
and
Miguel Cabrera is just now leaving the game.
Miggy was on that team. Miguel Cabrera. Yeah. I think Pudge was on that team too.
Pudge, was Pudge on that one?
He was on the last World Series team. Because that was
that was him. Yeah, he was on that team.
Yeah, he was on that last.
Because the other one was Darren Dalton and Benito Santiago. They were the first
and Eisenreich.
Jeff Conine, I remember that year.
Conine was on that squad too. Yeah, see, we got some history here.
Yes, sir.
We got some history here. Before we let you go, I want to give a shout out to everybody that you brought in with you. That's showing you love in the comments. Right. Mr. Mita Joe, Eric Sharp, Blanche Sharp, Donovan Brown, Jared Williams, Theo Dow. Shout out to all of y'all, man. We appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with us at the Check Swing Podcast. And in just a minute, we're going to, because we almost wrapping up the show. I was only going to keep him on for a little bit of time. I didn't want to take up his whole night, but he just been so interesting, such a great guest. I had to, let him keep on going. But we're going to be talking about championship weekend in just a little bit. But before I let you go, of course, make sure you all subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Neutrals Radio. Check out our show on Sunday nights, the 10-7 show. Relationship Talk, no chaser. We gets it in. Shout out to Cheryl Isaac. She said, go Matt. So, you got it. Oh, Dontrell Willis was on that team too. Yeah, absolutely. So you're definitely getting some love. Coach Mitch, I want you to let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can get involved with the Mitchell Marlins and all that. Whatever the case may be, please, give all that information for everybody to get, because what can happen is if you missed any part of this show, you can go over to our YouTube channel, click on the live tab, and you'll be able to see this show in its entirety. So,
okay. Well, definitely thank you guys for having me once again. If I can just leave you guys with this, the Mitchell Marlins, we operate through what we call a DEP model. The D stands for develop. We're, as we just talked about, we're all about development. All of our coaches that come on board, we are a travel team. We are going to compete. We're going to win some tournaments. We're going to lose some. But most importantly, we want these kids to develop. The E stands for expose. Once we develop the kids, we put them on stage to play in the top tournaments on a regional level, sometimes a national level. And we also expose them to better schools. Within 5 years, we've gotten, I would say, 35 plus kids in college. Not just they went to college on their own, but we've actually been instrumental in contacting the coaches or development to a point where they can make that team. Also our younger kids, once they come from middle school, I would say our last team, our 14U team, they're freshmen now. Majority of them are in the Gonzagas, they're in McNamara, they're in DeMatha, because the WCAC is just the best baseball conference in this area, and we want the best for them. So that's a bit of the exposing piece. The P is for placement, of course. That kind of goes hand in hand. We want to place these kids in the best programs We want to connect with the best coaches. We want to get them in the best institutions that can help them not only become better ball players, but not everyone's going to make the major leagues. Not everyone's going to make the pros, but they just can kind of get into a school that has their majors. Then we have confidence that the stuff that we instill in them, that the for the time that they're with us, that they'll leave our program better players, and ultimately better human beings and become better contributions to society. That's what we're all about. Lastly, I wanted to shout out two people. Andre Hockaday at On Deck. On Deck is a local batting cage in Capitol Heights. It is very reasonable on prices. Awesome guy. He had a son who played at Riverdale Baptist. Shout out to Coach Graves at Riverdale Baptist. He's doing great things as well and getting kids in school. But he had a son that played at Riverdale Baptist, and he noticed that this area didn't have a batting cage. So he saved some money and he opened up a batting cage called On Deck Batting Cage in Capitol Heights. Please check it out. Reasonable prices, beautiful facility, beautiful atmosphere. And lastly, I just want to thank my coaches, all the coaches that help us do what we do day in, day out. My good friend, Coach Jared Williams, the best hitting instructor in the DMV. No knock on anyone else. I don't want any Facebook or social media beef from that statement. But just a great guy, all around outstanding instructor, a ton of experience, and Coach Matt, Coach Steve, everyone who, like I said, who helped us, get where we are today, and all the supporters and everyone who kind of donate money to our cause. And thank all you guys for all you do for us. And thank you for just being here for us day in and day out.
Absolutely. Shout out to I was about to say the Mitchellville Marlins. Shout out to the Mitchell Marlins. Shout out to Coach Mitch. Shout out to the whole staff over there, man. Y'all doing some great work down there in the DMV. And I wish y'all continued success. For people looking for more information on the Mitchell Marlins, where can they go?
Yeah, Instagram. My Instagram is I think it's underscore Mitchell underscore Marlins underscore. I think that's the tag. Yeah, I believe
There
so.
you go. Underscore
you got it.
On Facebook as well and Twitter. Under
Absolutely.
Mitchell
Y'all
Marlins.
hear that? Y'all want to get some information on the Mitchell Marlins? Y'all want to get involved? Y'all want to help out? Whatever the case may be, you go there and be a part of this wonderful organization doing, like I said, wonderful things, great things down in the DMV and getting our boys back into the game. You're still getting some more shouts here. Best hitting instructor for sure. Demita Joe, Miss Demita Joe said, okay, Jared. And Eric Sharp said, hashtag Marlins, hashtag squad. So your peoples are here, Coach Mitch. Your peoples are with us, man. And once again, we want to thank you for hanging out with us, making our show, making the show an amazing show today. We appreciate you. I don't think we're gonna have time for championship weekend, Coach.
Dang.
Well, you know what? Let's see. You want to see if he can
Let's
answer
do
the guest of the week?
Only if Coach Mitch helps me.
All right. So, Coach Mitch, what we usually do at the end of the show is I try to stump Justin by just providing three things: the accolades of the player, the teams that they played on, and their jersey numbers. So he has to guess who this player is. He's on a streak of about 7 in a row,
something like that.
and
Sometimes it takes me a lot longer than others, but yeah.
But to his credit, last week he got a player that played for 15 teams last week. He got Matt Stairs, and the only reason why he got that was because it said 2008 World Series, and he remembered Matt Stairs coming from like 10 teams.
Yeah.
So all right. So let's
context clues.
Context clues. He was an English major, by the way, so I always have to type out my text in full.
He's a Hall of Famer, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, 8-time All-Star, 5-time ERA title, a triple crown. Wait. He's a triple crown winner?
It makes sense.
Okay, he's a triple crown winner, 2004 World Series champion, and an All-Star MVP. He played for 1, 2, 3.
He played for 5 teams.
Okay, and the last team he played for was the Phillies, or he played for the Phillies at some point. Number 45 down there at the bottom.
Correct.
Don't say anything, Coach Mitch. I feel like you already know.
I'm
But Coach Mitch, I will ask for an assist. Um,
trying to think.
who won the 2004 World Series? I can't remember. Was that
Don't
the
look it up.
Bo
Don't look it
Sox?
up. That was the Boston Red Sox. Yes. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that was.
Was
That
that
was
the year they finally won?
Or was that 2000? I think it was 2003 they won.
No, 2003 was the last time they choked badly, I think.
Well, let me think. 2004. Who won the World Series in 2004? I can't even think who
I
won.
know it's just Boston.
It was Boston. Yeah,
It is
it was
Boston?
Yeah.
Okay. So if he was a pitcher with
Oh, I know
Boston,
that one for sure.
is it Kurt Schilling?
Not 40.
Incorrect.
Oh man! All right, what are the teams here?
So, Coach Mitch, he's horrible with jersey numbers, just for the
I'm
record.
with baseball jersey numbers. I'm
With
terrible
baseball
with
jersey
baseball
numbers.
jersey
I
numbers.
think I know that one.
All right, before you give the answer, I'm gonna let you get an answer. I just want to ask one question, and I won't get an answer. What are the teams here?
Okay, Boston Red Sox, Montreal Expos.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, he got it. New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies. What's the fifth team? Did I say the fifth team? Mets.
I don't know, but
Wait, no. Los Angeles Dodgers,
Okay.
Boston Red Sox, New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies, Montreal Expos.
So I think I know who it is. Actually, no, I don't because
Say it. No, don't do that.
I said I was gonna let Coach.
No,
I don't know.
Say it with your chest.
Here's why I'm not going to say it, because who I thought it was also played for the Marlins, but the Marlins aren't up there.
Okay, Coach Mitch.
I was thinking Josh Beckett, but it's not Josh Beckett.
God, that's a horrible answer.
Yeah.
Coach Mitch.
Coach Mitch, what you got?
Pedro Martinez.
He got it.
Oh my God.
That was my guy right there.
When I was looking this up, I forgot when I was looking him up, I forgot he played for the Mets. Completely forgot about that era.
Yeah, he made his name more so with Boston, I would say.
Yeah, he definitely made his name with Boston. I forgot he played for the Mets. I forgot he played for the Dodgers.
Well, remember when he was on the Expos, that was the 94
that was
team.
When they were good.
That's when they had the Larry Walker, the Marquise Grissom. That was a bad team.
Was on that team.
Yeah, that's when that was the year after the Phillies went to the World Series, and the Expos were in first place that next year.
But
and
they ended up being best record in baseball. Yep, best record.
I'm so mad I didn't get that. Oh man.
You should have.
I forgot he played for the Mets. Forgot he played for the Dodgers.
Yeah, he broke in with the Dodgers. He was he was the only one to ever publicly hate Mike Piazza because Piazza is the worst catcher in history.
I need you to explain something to me though.
Uh-oh.
The Triple Crown.
So there's a pitching Triple Crown. The pitching Triple Crown.
You tricked me, man.
Wins, Ks, and ERA.
You tricked me, man. That was a trick. That was a trick clue. If there's such thing, that was a trick clue, man.
You're welcome.
That was a trick clue. All right, before we get out of here, I just want to I know I just want to get y'all real quick predictions for this weekend. And
well, first off, let's make sure to clear the air that Coach Mitch is not a Cowboys fan and he's not a Giants fan. He has publicly stated that from DMV, so he's neutral in all this, especially after the season Carson Wentz had. So he's good.
Oh man, you gonna bring up Carson, huh? Carton Wentz. Real quick, we're gonna make it real quick. We're gonna get up out of here. AFC Championship game. Who wins that, guys? Flip a coin if you want. It doesn't really matter. We're not gonna get into a deep discussion. Coach Mitch, pick one. Bengals or who are they? Bengals or Chiefs?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the Bengals are the favorite, right?
Yeah.
I believe they are. Yeah,
barely. Yeah, but
Yeah.
So Coach Mitch is going with the Bengals. Miguel, who you got?
I wanted it to be the Bills. I think it's going to be the Bengals as well.
Okay, well I'll go with the Chiefs because I did an interview last week and I said I thought it was going to be the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna go with the
But
Chiefs just to stick with that.
who
Theo
do you
said, "Go Birds, go Birds."
who do you want it to be?
Who do I want it to be?
Hmm.
Eagles and whoever.
Okay.
Eagles and the best team out of the AFC, honestly. So we can win and we can say we was the best team this year and
Yeah,
shut
you pun-
everybody up saying we ain't play nobody.
you punted on that answer. That's okay.
I did. I did. This one's going to be easy. I'm going to say Eagles or Niners, and I'm going to say I know what Miguel's going to say, and Coach Mitch, I'm just going to tell you what to say. Just say Eagles.
It's
Who
gonna
you
be
got,
the
Coach Mitch?
I'll go with the Eagles.
Thank you. I was holding my breath, like, no, please, don't do it.
It's all good.
Miguel, who you got?
Eagles.
I'm also going with the Eagles. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl and they're going to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl or the Bengals, whoever it. Am I saying
I
that right? Bengals,
I
Bengals,
I
whatever.
personally hope it actually is the Bengals because the Eagles usually do better against quarterbacks that are not as mobile.
Okay, cool. I
Just
like it.
saying.
And they don't have a good offensive line. So, with that being said, we want to thank Coach Mitch for
Thank you,
being
sir.
for being a blessing on today's Check Swing podcast. Keep being a blessing to the youth down there in the DMV. And I see you have a whole heck of a lot of support over here. So, you are in good hands and the kids are in good hands as well. And all y'all that are supporting the Mitchell Marlins, thank y'all for. I'm looking at the comments like y'all could see me. Thank y'all for doing what y'all doing down there, Coach Mitchell. Thank you so very much for being with us.
Are they all up to date on their fees and payment? Let me stop.
Don't answer that. Don't
That's
answer
another
that.
podcast, right?
Yeah, don't
there.
answer that. Don't answer that. See, I said we're not going to get into any topics. Miguel.
What do
I
you
said,
say? The doors of the church are open. Close out service.
oh, hold on. You want to take a picture of the thing, Coach?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can take a picture. Go ahead. We'll do it. Let me get my hands in there.
All right, got you. Thank you,
I'm glad
guys.
he didn't do the whole video thing. Like we standing there posing.
I know.
Coach Mitchell, thank you for blessing
Thank
us
you,
with your
guys.
presence today. We appreciate it, and definitely please keep us posted on everything you're doing so we can have you back on and continue the discussion.
And good luck to you guys, and good luck to Rollins.
Appreciate it. Hope to see you in a tournament near you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Best
And
wishes.
with all that being said, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us on the Check Swing podcast today. For Miguel and for Coach Mitchell, we appreciate y'all. We'll check y'all out next week. Same time, same place here on the YouTube channel for New Twist Radio, 9 o'clock Tuesday night. Talk to y'all next time. Peace.